Boards games, boards games, that's what we're talking about. Boards games, we're not gonna shout. I am starting off this morning with a little bit of singing, and here beside me is the person known as Ellie. Ellie makes board games for your family. They made a book that you can buy and read. Board games, that's what we're talking about. Board games, I'm not gonna shout. Hey!
Hooray! Right, I think you need to release that song immediately.
I'd have to look it over to remember the lyrics. Honestly, sometimes I wake up. Firstly, oh, well, Cook, I thought you were meant to be doing your German exam. I hope that you're all well and everything's going well. And hello, Oliver. It is lovely to see you. Oh, apparently, maybe Will Cook finished her German exam. So Will Cook they finished the hour-long exam in 4 minutes. That's amazing. I don't.
That sounds suspiciously like there was little revision.
I mean, I trust Will Cook. Oh, they say that they only made one mistake.
Wow, that's some going. I'm impressed.
I'm assuming that this is some sort of like instant thing. And hello, it's Richard Simpson. I was actually just listening to Richard Simpson when I was shaving this morning. But yeah, and hello, Alan Outson. It is lovely to see you all. I am Bez. And this is approximately breakfast time, and we are blethering about board games. And today I have Ellie Dix with me, who's going to be talking about family games. And hello, David Dobson. It's lovely to have all of you with us this morning. So, Ellie, we met at Royal Festival Hall, I believe.
Yeah.
We know each other, so there's a little bit of bias there. It wasn't like, oh my God, Ellie is, you might be the best person out there in the world for family games. I'm not saying that you're not, but
if I'm not yet, I will be at some point. That's the journey.
That is your journey. That's your goal.
Yeah.
So, can you talk for about 1 minute about yourself and your journey to get into board games and what you're all about?
Yeah, so always been a board gamer, like many people that are in the hobby. I was really lucky that my mum and my dad were both into games. My mum was a senior lecturer in education and maths. She taught primary teachers how to teach maths. And so every year, one of her tasks in her for her students was to create a maths game. And she used to bring them all home for us to play and to critique. And and then we would sometimes we'd even go back to college with her and tell them what we thought about their board games from the end user's point of view. And so I got exposure to quite a lot, at a fairly young age into game design, although she wasn't, particularly interested in game design. She was interested in the maths, but she was interested in how to communicate the maths to the student, and one of the good ways of doing that is through games. That's one of the reasons I'm interested in educational games. And my dad is just into gamification for this, so he gets really bored really quickly, and he's always made everything into a game. And to make everything more interesting. So, for example, he still does these sort of random he creates these programs that generate things, chores that he has to do around the house, for example, and he'll press a button and it will randomly tell him what he's got to do that day. And and he finds that much more interesting than just kind of working through a list and on Wednesdays I have to clean the kitchen floor sort of thing. So this kind of idea of gamification, he used to do, he took my mum on a random number generated holiday.
Nice.
And yeah, they ended up in Swepstone in Leicestershire, if you're interested. And that was based on the index of the Gazetteer. Just, these flights of fancy take him. And it
reminds me of The Dice Man. I don't know if you know that book where you wrote, basically, I think it's a work of fiction where someone basically said, okay, on a 1, I'm going to do this, 2 this, 3 this, 4 this, 5 this, 6. It's a standard D6.
I'm definitely need to read it.
It gets a little bit dark and totally not child friendly towards the end. Because it's also a story about absolving ourselves of personal responsibility through the medium of chance. You can sort of see where that's likely to go. But it's a really interesting thought exercise. Like, at what point do we have, our own agency? At what point is abnegation something that actually frees us from all these fear of what should I do, that crippling fear?
And I think that's, that's sort of interesting in terms of, in terms of my dad. He's creating these programs that are going to, with all the things he needs to do anyway. So, he's got the agency over how the program's created and what the content of the things that are going to come up is. And then he is, getting the program to choose what order things happen in or choose what happens next. So he's got a program about listening to different pieces of music. He chooses what music goes into his collection in the first place. He just wants to make sure he listens to all of it. So he has a system for doing that. And so I know you said in a minute, I don't know how to tell you in a minute how I've got where I've got. But yes, I come from this sort of family of strange gaming, gaming situations, really. And, we had a lot of games that lots of other people didn't have. So, my friends tended to have Mousetrap and Frustration and things in their house, which is great as well. But we had Railway Rivals and other, I can't even, off the top of my head, I can't think of, these sort of games that were real hobby games. Totopoly we played and various other games like that. And so I had a bit of a different route into it. Then when I became a teacher, I used games a lot in my teaching. I used to teach drama and maths, both of which I think hang brilliantly around games, although they're very different subjects. And then we were training teachers to manage behaviour, but I was going into schools and training teachers how to teach maths more effectively and with more fun. And it was all games. And these are games that we played when we were little, that I developed and designed. So my kind of game designing started from adapting stuff in games at home, from critiquing, trainee math teachers' games, and then from designing games that teachers could use in the classroom that would engage students with the learning. And then after leaving the education company, I just took that into, right, now is the time. I'm just going to focus on that completely.
And so that's taken you to a year or two ago when you started spending your full time designing these games, and you came over to Waterloo, and there were some amazing ideas from you, and we're like, wow, this is really cool. And you were really good at to be fair, there's, like always, there's some harsh criticism at the start, and took that on board, and you've done some brilliant things that we'll get into.
Yeah, no, it's not always at the start. I mean, there was harsh criticism at the start. There's still harsh criticism. But that's the most empowering thing, actually. It is the single thing that I'm most pleased that I have done since shifting my day-to-day career into the world of board games. Coming to the Playtest UK group at the Royal Festival Hall has been the single best thing that I could have done to progress myself as a game designer, because very early on I was putting these designs in front of people who were fairly harsh critics, and with a smile, but always fairly blunt, and would tell you to your, you can't design a game and then just show it to friends and family.
Yeah.
And actually, having come most weeks to Royal Festival Hall since then, and then carrying on doing it during lockdown, what's really interesting is seeing those designers that have been working on a project or a game for a long time and have only showed it to their friends and family, and the difference in the quality usually of those games from the other things that are coming out is quite interesting. And they've kind of lured themselves into a false sense of security by only asking the people that are always think they're brilliant anyway. So
I mean, there are definitely sad instances of people who've said, oh, I've been working on this game for so many years with friends and family, then they come and they get some advice that if they follow the advice, yes, it would be a bit of work, but it could actually turn that game into being something that's totally publishable, but it's just makes them take a 90-degree turn, or maybe even 60. It's kind of saying, okay, this is actually two games, this part and this part, just isolate this part, this is the interesting parts, and do that. So you've got a good game here.
Spent a lot of time and invested a lot of time in the design process. It's very hard to turn around and, if you've balanced cards and if you've spent a lot of time on graphic design, and it's very hard to say all of that time I've invested is now going to be thrown away. And of course it isn't thrown away, but the quicker we can get to those points of knowing what the essence of the game that's really interesting is, the better. So it's definitely the best thing I've done to make sure that my process involves showing people and sharing games with people as quickly as possible, and spending as little time on the getting things to look beautiful and just getting them to look functional to the point which you can put them in front of people. I mean, Bez, you're a classic inspiration in this area, because often I'll turn up to the Royal Festival Hall and you'll be scribbling on cards because there's an extra idea you've had about a new game on your bike on the way there, and it's just ideas scribbled down on cards, and that's and it's enough to test the idea, and that's been hugely liberating actually, and it's made me feel just that, getting to be braver in the first few weeks, in the first month of doing something, in the early stages of the design, being brave there, it saves you so much time and makes the game so much better than it ever would be before. It's the kind of thing really that you can't do on your own.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about all sorts of design things, but this isn't an episode of War Not Wizards. Much as I love Richard Simpson, I'm not going to let you ramble on whatever. No, we've got some comments with Alan Outson. Yep, check if you've got it. Actually read it. Once you start it, it is actually a really good book, and a bit of love for strange families. Anyone who's actually watching, and how would they, is that, Pong. Hello, Odin, that's Odin Pong, who is the writers. I think I've got a copy of the book. But, no. Yeah, there we go.
All right, but yeah.
Yeah, I've got a copy of it here. And stuff. Apparently, War Not Wizards doesn't let people ramble, they just let me ramble. That I am not sure I believe that. But I do want to say quickly, please, I really appreciate everyone commenting along. Please feel free to share it, follow, all that stuff. And I do want to say I'm on 47 followers, and when I reach 50, something special happens. Genuinely, on Twitch, then I start, people can start getting fake money, and then they can start getting emoticons and stuff, although I probably have to ask someone else to make those little icons, because I don't know if I have the energy for that, but maybe we can turn it into a sort of competition to get the things made. But also I could make people into VIPs, which would definitely be Alan Outson for being there every single day, and Will Cook for being a regular. But yeah, please, if we can find 3 more people to follow me, that would be super awesome. But moving on to the regular feature, Ellie, can you think of a brilliant things? Here's a little thing that is Brilliant. So in the past, I've tried to appreciate just things that are around us. For example, tables. I mean, yeah, sure, wherever you are, you've got tables, but it's just such a useful thing in the design of them. And chairs and, gardens and walls and ceilings. And yesterday we were talking about nitrogen. Can you think of a brilliant thing?
Oh, now, a brilliant thing. It's very true. Oh, I could think, I tell you what, because it's close to me, this is one of my favourite brilliant things.
Pencil sharpeners.
My electric pencil sharpener, which was one of my Christmas presents. It was a bit of a random Christmas present. It wasn't something I'd asked for, but I'm very pleased that it's here, and I use it almost every day. And
is it one of those that you just push it in and then it starts whirring?
It is. Would you like to see it in action?
We can. Okay. There you go. Woo! Pencil sharpening in action.
And you can do different size of pencils using the 2 different holes. And I didn't need it, didn't think I needed it. Never really used pencils very much until I got the pencil sharpener. Now I use pencils all the time. And sometimes I'll just go around the house looking for pencils to sharpen.
Wow.
Because it's so much fun doing it.
That does sound amazing. And even,
go on.
I just think pencil sharpeners in general, like the design of them, even just if you've got a normal pencil sharpener, the whole fact that it's got like this blade at this angle and then you turn, such an amazing...
It's a brilliant thing.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant thing. And we used to have one when I was, you can get the wind-up ones, the sort of mechanical ones that do the same thing, not the little ones, but that teachers on their desk.
Yeah.
We used to, it used to be one of the main reasons we would get out of our chairs in primary school was so that we could go and, pretend we needed to sharpen our pencils on the teacher's desk with the thing that has the sort of grip, it has a sort of grip, pulls the pencil in.
Wow.
Absolutely brilliant.
That does sound amazing. And we've got novelty things. We've got, apparently, I didn't notice the scary eyes on your pencil sharpener. Does it have scary eyes?
Well, I think maybe the holes are the eyes. I don't know.
Yeah. That doesn't look evil. That looks kind of cute. If those were eyes, it's like, oh.
I'm going to draw a face on it now. I'm going to make it. I'm going to do a big nose. I put some blue tack there to make it into a nose and, really go for it.
Recent highlights. Listening to music and seeing the sights. Recent highlights. Okay, so for me, honestly, yesterday wasn't one of the best days, but I did manage to, I phoned up someone who basically was there with me whilst I did the bare minimum of just addressing 3 envelopes and then getting myself out the door. So then I kind of went to the post office and I did get a few things sent and came back and had a nap. So my highlight was, having someone who was there for my emotional support. Do you know what I mean? Having someone who was willing to be there on the phone for like 15 minutes or so whilst I was basically doing all this work. And for them, it's no fun. But having someone who's there willing to support you. And also, another small, tiny thing, earlier on, for my lunch/breakfast, I had a really healthy thing, which I want to talk about, which was a bed of salad, some quickly boiled eggs, some banana put into the frying pan. It had been frozen, mixed with chili, and then put onto the side. It was really good. I know you're looking a bit dubious, but it was really good.
Fried banana with chili?
Yes.
With salad?
And 3 eggs.
It's a strange combination.
I mean, it had like a good bits of satisfaction. I know there's like a bit of cholesterol from the eggs, but like felt okay. I've done workouts, and so like actually, workouts. I did do a wee bit, even though I think that's the key to not always be beating yourself up about things you've not done, but to appreciate the things you've done. And I have continued to share recent highlights on Twitter, and genuinely, if people see them and they want to share, hey, here's some things that I've managed to do, it's really nice getting those conversations going. But apart from games played, what are your recent highlights?
Well, as I think Oliver's put on in the comments, yesterday I found out that my game Uranus has made it through to the semi-finals of the Board Game Workshop Design Contest. Very exciting. So yeah, the top 20 games have gone through. My game scored in at number 10 in round 1. And during the semi-final stage, you resubmit and you get coaching, and it involves submitting the rule book and things. So you can make changes, you can make developments to the game if you want. You can. So I think all of those 20 games are totally rejudged after, you know, and everything's resubmitted. So it's exciting. I'm looking forward to it. I wonder who my judge will be.
Ooh.
I mean, who my coach will be.
Is that...
Go on.
Do you mean that you actually know, or is that genuine wonder?
No, I don't know. No, I do wonder. It'll be fascinating. I'm really looking forward to it.
Well done. And thank you, everyone, for the love.
Yes, thanks, everyone.
So we've got a bit... I was talking to Ellie, actually, about walking in the rain. And Will Cook says that they went to the Citizen... Well, I just assumed that it was online, so you actually had to go there in person. So they went there and back, and then there and back again, because they left their phone, and they love walking in the rain. So that sounds lovely. And everyone, feel free to share your things. And thanks for the congratulations, David. And also feel free to share your highlights as well as your games. What have we been playing? What are their names? Games. Okay. So yesterday I played 2 games, I think, only the ones that I played on the live stream, which Alan wasn't there. Will Cook was there, I think. Yeah, and so they know both of these games. So Will Cook said that they enjoyed the first one, which was Top Tails, quite a bit. I'm looking for... No, I've not printed out any of the cards, because at this day and age, when it's just questions, it feels very wasteful to just print it out. Yep. So I do give a shout out to the designer, Peter Sellers, I think. We've enjoyed it. I think it's a quality game. I have my doubts about the replayability, because the questions with the same group will always give you the same answers. But it is so much fun that if you have the money, and then maybe it's something that you're then going to play with multiple groups, or maybe you're a teacher, or maybe play with loads of people, or maybe you pass it on to someone else. So that's something that I might talk about and have them on at some point. And the other game that we played was a experiment called Formel, which you can guess it's exactly like Freemel, the L deck games that you might know, but with words that are 2, 3, and 4 letters long. And so it went well. Rachel Creamer and Heinze Havinga of Semi-Co-op both managed to get the perfect score of 24 straight out of the bat, because they are trilingual. And so they managed to make a lot more words. I think Heinze did Spanish, English, and Dutch. So if you know more languages, you know more words, so it is an advantage in a word game. Who would have guessed?
There you go.
And what have you been playing?
Well, last night we played Terraforming Mars again. My children are obsessed with it. So it usually gets to the table about twice a week, which is quite a lot for a big game like that. But I was feeling a little bit tired last night. So apart from the fact that I did terribly, because I was feeling quite tired. But I feel terrible, but my heart sank a little bit when my eldest son, because we take it in turns to choose games. So each day, one of us will choose a game. My 2 sons and I, and my husband sometimes joins us, but doesn't ever choose. And my eldest son, Alfie, said, yep, we're going to play Terraforming. And my heart sunk a little bit, because I was thinking, oh, it would have been a nice night to pick a short one. But it was great. It was nice. I was playing a corporation. It all just went wrong. It went wrong for me. My youngest son won, which is brilliant because he hardly ever wins, because my eldest son's so good at it, and he likes to play competitively online as well. So he's kind of honed these skills for terraforming that he just kind of that usually means he beats everyone else. And then I also played Discworld and
Morpork.
Yeah,
I can't believe that someone just gave you this game.
Someone gave me their whole collection, Bez. You know, he was having a clear out. The person that he normally played with died, and he didn't have anyone else to play with. And I don't think he really had the the inclination to find a new group to join, or to have it get another friend into it. And he just didn't want to be having the games around anymore. But he was very keen on making sure that the games went to a place where they would be played and used, and so he wanted to give them away, which was lovely. I mean, I would have paid for them, but he wanted to give them away. So I was gifted there's about 36 different games, some of which are real vintage gems, and including Discworld, which is just lovely. And almost all of these games, not almost all of them, about half of these games are still in the wrap. They're not a shrink wrap, but they've still got all the components are in baggies, and the cards are still wrapped. So I think he didn't play as many as he would have done. So it's nice that they're getting played. I'm really excited to be playing some of these games that aren't easily available. And yeah, Discworld's a great game, and the kids loved it.
Yeah. I'm of a similar mind to Will Cook, that it's lovely to kind of be able to pass on that love, because sometimes when you've got something that you just got a lot of joy of, even if you could work to get some money for it, your primary goal is just to make sure that other people are going to get some love and joy from it.
Exactly.
And I mean, it is all to do with sharing quality moments together, because when you buy a game, it's almost like an investment into a time that you might be able to have.
That's exactly.
But you need to line up the time, you need to have the people around you, and these are things that maybe not everyone has.
Yep, I agree. I mean, and that's really one of the reasons that I'm so big into family gaming, because when you have children and you manage to get them hooked into the hobby, it's something that you're going to do not just when they're children, not just when they're teenagers, but forever. Every time you go back to the home, you're going to, every time you're together as a family, you're going to carry on playing. I mean, I still play with my mum and dad all the time, and when there are often quite a lot of tensions around family relations, my mum can be quite annoying. Most people's mums can be quite annoying. That's just what it's like. As an adult, spending lots of time with her is frustrating on many levels. That doesn't mean I don't love her. It doesn't mean I don't want to be with her. But when we're playing board games together, that's something we're doing. It's an experience that we're having together that's bringing us closer together. And that's something that I think as parents we can bring our children in, and that it's the kind of the gift that keeps giving for the whole of the rest of our lives, bringing people into the board game hobby, and playing as a family.
And for those who are playing with others, I know that Oliver, we were having a bit of a chat on Twitter actually this morning about how they're continuing with their regular weekly gaming nights. And yeah, that's bringing people together. We've got a bit more love for Terraforming Mars, although it's always sad when you just want to be able to play this game and you don't have people to play it with.
Yeah.
And we've got a whole bunch of love for Splendor and Ticket to Ride, and lots of family gaming going on with David Dobson.
David has been playing Ticket to Ride every day, I think, because generally posts on Facebook that his, the end screen of where all the tracks have got to and what map they've been playing on. I love Ticket to Ride. It's a good game.
And the question is, would you consider Terraforming Mars a family game?
It's certainly not a family game for families that haven't played games yet. It's not the first game you'd play as a family. But of course it's a family. I mean, almost any game can be a family game. that's the thing about games. It's the same with a group of adults as it would be with a family. In many ways, you're looking for the right game to fit the people. So depending on what your family likes, what your children are interested in, and why they want to play, what delights them about playing a game. Is it the laughter and the silliness, or is it the ability to strategize and forward plan and think ahead and develop and create something and build an engine? Well, you're going to choose a very different game if you're on, if your end point, if what you want is a family laugh, as a good time together, than if you want to all be involved in something a bit more strategic. So anything can be a family game, but of course Terraforming Mars is not the first game you're going to play if you're new to gaming, whether you're an adult or whether you're a child. I mean, I think the thing about family games is that and there's quite a lot of misconception about what children can cope with and what they can do, and what games children shouldn't be introduced to because it's too difficult for them. And actually, complexity is fine for children. I'm not talking about children sort of age 5. I'm talking about older children. When you're age 8 and up, you can pretty much deal with the complexity in any game that an adult can deal with. Children are much more used to learning on a daily basis than adults are. It's their whole world is learning new stuff all the time. So they're open to those sorts of things. What they can't do is they're not very patient. They want to get on and play quickly. They're not wanting to sit around and watch you read a rule book. And you have to bear those things in mind when you're introducing new games. And then any game can be a family game. You just have to think really carefully about how you're going to introduce it, and how you're going to teach it, and how you're going to get playing as quickly as possible.
And so, will Cook clarify, so when you're talking about family gaming, you mean more about the group around the table, whereas normally in the board game industry and media, we talk about family games as being an entry-level game, something like Battleship, or something that's got a little bit of strategy but takes 30 seconds or so to explain.
Yeah, well, so the games that I make are sort of in between. They're kind of light strategy games. They have a little bit, some of them don't have very much depth, but they're all designed to get new families to play games. And I think when we're talking about family games, of course, that's what we mean. We mean games that are accessible for families that haven't played games before. When we're talking about family gaming, that looks different for different people. That's just like any board gaming looks different for different people. But I think, yeah, family games are games that are going to bring new people into the hobby, that are easily accessible, that are fairly quick to get started and explain, and that have concepts that are interesting to families, whatever that is. That there are some games that children might not be interested in, and of course everyone's different, but that some children might not be interested in.
And Odin talks about the 3D terrain tiles that are coming out for Terraforming Mars.
I've just backed it. It's so expensive, but I backed it on Kickstarter because we get it to the table. So I haven't told the children, actually. Just better be quiet. Yeah, there's the big box that's just been, just come out on Kickstarter and has just been funded. And they look great, these terrain tiles. And in fact, one of the nice things that, you can see on Twitter all the time is people making their own 3D tiles for terraforming, and for other games, but you get to see these all sorts of different creations, which I think is really nice.
Got shout outs for Donuts Dash and Quacksaw Quedlingberg from Oliver's daughter, but first let's get to our usual section of the quick questionable questions. Did you have breakfast?
Yes, always.
What did you eat?
Porridge.
Always porridge?
Always. Well, no. When I'm being good, it's always porridge, and when I'm not being good, it's about 3 eggs on a big piece of toast with lots of butter and tomatoes. But I'm being good at the moment, so it's porridge.
Iced coffee or hot tea?
Hot tea.
Something you like to eat or drink whilst playing games?
Hot tea.
Who's the last person you spoke to in person?
My husband, apart from you. Oh no, you're not in person. My husband.
I've not seen you in real life for many months.
I'm on a different plane of reality now. This feels like in person. My husband.
Books or podcasts?
Oh, I know this is quick questions. I love both of them. I listen to podcasts every day when I'm walking the dog. I love books, but I don't read them as much as I should. So probably podcasts at the moment.
What were you listening to this morning?
I was listening to Entre Leadership, which is an entrepreneur's podcast about, entrepreneurship and leadership. Oh. And they've always got really exciting guests who are really big in the world of, not in the world of business, although some of them are, but a lot of them are speakers and a lot of them are authors, and they just got great lessons to learn. And the themes repeat from podcast to podcast, but they're generally easy things you can take away, whether you're running a big corporation or whether you're running a micro business and you're just a freelancer, working on your own, really.
On a scale of +2 to -2, would you recommend it to me?
Yes, positive 1.5, probably.
Okay. What's your favorite color to play?
Yellow, obviously. and whenever and the only reason I'm pleased that Dave Dawkins has gone back to Australia is because he also plays yellow, and whenever we play together we fight over yellow.
Oh, miss Dave.
In fact, I have a key ring that says that the key ring is "I play yellow," and I put it on the table just to remind everybody.
I normally ask the last physical game played, but I think we've established that that
was Terraforming Mars. Yeah.
Cards or cubes?
No, it wasn't Terraforming Mars, because after I finished Terraforming Mars, I played Nautilion on my own. It's a solo game.
Ooh.
Yeah. Do you know it?
Is that the one with the crazy arts and it's kind of a submarine thing?
Yeah. It's like it's you're on a kind of a boat, and there's a pirate ship as well, and you're trying to get from the Happy Isles to the I don't know. You're trying to get opposite ways along the thing, and you're trying to reach. Oh, Dave, I'm never playing with you. You're trying to reach the other side before the pirate ship reaches your island. And you're trying to collect tokens. It's beautiful. But I played it last night because I've been starting to do time-lapse videos on my YouTube channel every Wednesday, and I needed one for tomorrow, and I thought Terraforming Mars was too long and it doesn't change enough for it to be interesting to look at. So yeah, I want it to be in under 2 minutes. Well, if you've got a game that lasts 2.5 hours, it's going to be too quick to play in under 2 minutes. Nobody will be able to see anything. So I played Nautilion. That's what's coming up on the channel tomorrow.
Ooh, yeah. Exciting. So back to the board game questions. Cards or cubes?
Cubes.
Ooh. Wooden meeple or plastic figurine?
Wooden meeple.
Stacking games, horizontally or vertically?
Stacking horizontally?
Well, you pile them on top of each other.
But horizontally?
Yeah, some people put their games horizontally.
Oh, right. I thought you meant. I thought you were talking about stacking, like a game that has stacking as a mechanism.
No, when you put your games in the shelf, do you put them horizontally or vertically?
I put them horizontally, except in my Kallax they're horizontal. But then I have an overflow shelf, which they can't go horizontal; they go vertical there. But they all fall over. All the bits, that's why I prefer to have them horizontal.
Ooh. Do you prefer art or rules?
I'm definitely in the middle, but if I had to lean one side or the other, it would be art, unless I've made the rules.
Tell me 3 board games that you love.
I love Azul. And I love, now trying to think.
I mean, you can say Terraforming Mars, it's fine.
Yeah, Terraforming. I have to, because it's one of those things that's just brought us together, as you know, it's brought us together more. And I suppose I'm going to choose a vintage one, Gambler, which was probably my favourite game when I was younger. Oh, Railway Rivals as well. Oh, and I'll say Gambler because it's got the coolest component. It's got these 5 dice in a shaker, and you can't get them out. You shake them in one end, and then you turn it up the other end, and they all fall down into the handle.
Oh, there's a transparent bit.
Yes, it's all transparent, and you put it on. Put it on the game board, and where the bits point to on the game board, you know, it's a betting thing. It's really cool. I love that.
So it sounds really fun. And I mean, it's interesting how modern games are having more nice rules mixed with toyetic things, but you know, there was a lot of that back in the day.
Yeah.
Any board game shops that you want to give a shout out to?
Well, my local board game cafe is D20 in Watford. I haven't been there very much, but it's a great place and it's got a good following. I'd like to give a little shout out to Nick Smith and Ludacris, because you know, I've been following all of his, you know, journey through lockdown, and you know, the difficulties that they've been having, and the kind of the things they've done to try and overcome that. So they've reopened today.
Yeah, I think it's today, and then they're reopening for 2 days, and then they're hopefully reopening permanently on Tuesday. And I read through all the stuff that they're doing. It sounds really positive, the steps that they're taking. Yeah. And I know that Nick put Yogi through the high temperature dishwasher.
Did he?
Yeah, just to check whether it could work or not. Because, you know, I thought I wasn't 100% sure, but I'll be interested to know, how they kind of arranged them. Because, you know, if you actually lie all the cards flat, that's going to take a lot of space to do 55 cards. I guess like if you put them like as if they were plates standing up.
Yeah, that's what they would have done.
But okay, you do a bit of everything, but do you prefer design, development, or publishing?
Depends what day of the week it is. Yeah, I do a bit of everything, and one of the things I like about it is that I do everything. That there's variety. If I had to only do one and stop doing the others, I'd probably do, say, design.
Okay. Dancing, yes or no?
Oh, yes, but only if I've got a routine.
Drawing.
Oh no, I'm terrible at drawing. Except for pictures. Sorry?
Singing.
Yes, every day, every evening. Singing, definitely.
And finally, can you tell us a day in the life of ELLIE DIX?
Well, at the moment, I'm probably getting up at about 5:30, and coming downstairs, and then, you know, writing a blog post or doing something else, you know, that I need to focus my brain on for a bit, taking the dog out, having breakfast. Then I come into my study where I am now, and I will be here apart from for a break at lunchtime, I will be here until 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock tonight. And I'm a very organized person. So I've got lots of lists and methods of working. So I'll get through the day. I'm doing some game design usually, though not at the moment. I'm doing a lot of social media at the moment and speaking to people, a lot of networking and selling a lot of stuff. So I might have to go out to the post office to post things. And then we play a game in the evening, and then I'll sit in my chair. And I'm in a glee club, so every Thursday we're singing in the evenings, even though Zoom, it's terrible. I mean, honestly, we have to all be muted because otherwise the noise is terrible. So you're just singing along on your own. Sorry?
Because of the delay.
Partly because of the delay, and partly because we're not the best singing group in the world. So you're just singing along with the musical director in your lounge. That's what's going on. And then watch a bit, sit with my husband, watch a bit of telly, and go to bed. That's it.
There you go. And Odin Pong says that publishing is probably their favourite thing to do, and very grateful for people who like to do other things. And it's worth noting, brief tangent, if you want to get into the board game industry, you don't have to be a designer or developer. You could be a publisher, you could be a rules writer, you could draw, you could demo, you could do admin. You know, there's a lot of things that need to be done. You could make websites. There's all sorts of things that need to be done.
Fine.
Logistics.
Yep. All of those things.
So let's get to the main topic, which is family gaming, finally. So can you talk about what... So I think we've already defined family gaming, which means playing games with your family.
Yep.
Why is it important? Why is it a good thing?
Well, you know, there are lots of benefits of playing board games generally, as any board gamer will probably attest to. But you know that there are so many benefits of doing that as a family as well. You know, games are bringing families together. They're they're giving us time that we're spending together. They're giving us positive things to do together. They are strengthening those family connections. And it maybe doesn't feel like that all the time, particularly if family, and this is the problem, you know, families sometimes say, or hate, you know, people will say, I hate board gaming, but their frame of reference is mainstream games like Monopoly and Scrabble and things that either are more likely to pull people apart because there's always, you know, kind of a runaway leader and you could be losing for a long time, or they are, you know, reliant upon knowledge and you know, trivia or vocabulary that kind of puts adults at an advantage to children. And so when you've only got Scrabble, which is a great game, and Monopoly, which isn't a great game, in your house, then you know, the what's going to happen in family gaming isn't what you want it to happen. So you know, when you're playing good games, the benefits are huge. You know, you're experiencing things together. And I think when our children get bigger, you know, when they're little, we have lots of time with them. It's easier to spend quality time with them because they want to be with us all the time. And as your children grow, they're being pulled in a different way. You know, that independence that comes with, you know, life as a teenager, and that desire to pull away from your parents and forge your own sort of path, that sets in quite young. And it can really cause tensions in the house. So actually, you know, we know it's a common refrain that people with teenagers don't see them very often. They spend a lot of time in their room. They want to connect with their friends rather than with the family, and it's a source of sadness. And you know, so as parents, we kind of crave this extra time to pull people together again. So anything that we can do as an activity, as a family, helps us retain those connections and strengthen those bonds. And I think, you know, part of the kind of difficulty with families is that as a parent, you fall into a trap of asking the same questions every day and you become really boring. You know, children are not interested, our teenagers are not interested in our day. You know, our adult world is really of no consequence to them.
And they're not interested in talking about their day with a vague thing of how was your day. That's like a really big question. That's a really difficult question. There's a lot of emotional energy in talking about that, and why should they tell you everything?
And actually, what they know is that, well, what they believe they know is that what we're interested in as parents is what lessons did they have, what were they learning, and they feel that that's the information that we want. And actually, we just want a conversation. But we don't always know how to start that conversation. And so we fall back on these questions which don't get us anywhere. You know, how was school? Ooh, it was fine. You know, what did you do at school? Well, how was your day? It was fine. And we're not great at always asking questions that are a bit different. And as they push us away, we feel less like, you know, more tension about opening those conversations. So having things that you can do that you all enjoy doing together releases that pressure on having a conversation, and actually ends up sparking conversation anyway. And that's, you know, it gives us things to talk about. It actually, you know, relaxes everybody around the table. So that could be baking, you know, you could be just making a cake with somebody. I mean, it just so happens that I'm not that good a cook, so it was never going to.
And the problem with baking is that if you're always making a cake every day, then, you know, it's not very healthy.
And also, you've got to have the right ingredients in the house at the right time, and they tend to those. It's hard to bake things that fit into your day, depending on what your day looks like. So we know with games that we can just grab something that we can play in 5 minutes, standing up, waiting for sausages to cook on the stove, for example. We can play.
What game can you play in 5 minutes standing up? Or was that a figure of speech?
No, it wasn't a figure of speech. I mean, you know, for example, one of the coaster games you could. You know this game, Sleuth Box. It's a 5-minute game. It's a 2-minute game, really. If you're doing. So this is Sleuth Box. It's one of the coaster games. I've got 6 different games on coasters. And there are other games that, you know, that you play you can play multiple times, and the idea is that you play them multiple times. You know, Yahtzee will take you 10 minutes, and there's all sorts of you know, quick things that you can put in the car for those moments when you're waiting with one child for another child, you know, which is half of the life of a parent, and that you can, you know, shove in your handbag if you're going out to a restaurant. And there's games that will fill a whole rainy afternoon. But it's a little bit different with cooking. You can't shove something in your handbag that you're going to cook in the car as a little activity. But you can do that with games. So I think that, you know, the one of the lovely things about games is that they're so versatile. You can find games that fit into all sorts of different time, you know, slots in the day. You know, one of the biggest objections that I hear from parents who don't play games is we just don't have time, and I don't buy it. I do not buy it. There are lots of things you can do in no time at all, and and as a parent, and as a family, you're wasting lots of bits of the day anyway. I mean, everybody does. It's just human nature. So you can, on a very low and easy, accessible way, start to put things into the day. Yeah, so I can't even remember what the question was now, but yeah, I mean, I think it's an accessible.
Just about the benefits of board gaming for the family, and I think you've done a great job of illustrating how, you know, some board games are good at bringing together any community. And I think that even if it's not a family, technically, if it's, I guess, what is a family, we could get into a philosophical question. Obviously, you are talking about an actual biological, you know, or indeed adopted family, you know. But when you are a bunch of housemates who are trying to be friendly with one another through a lockdown, you know, that you become a sort of family, and tensions are going to flare up. Some people adopt the role of, okay, having to act more as the carer and keeping things going. Some people, you know, there will be emotional outbursts. There will be times when you don't really want to talk to someone. Maybe one of the people doesn't feel ready to have that conversation about what's actually going on. But when you play a board game, if you're playing Pandemic Legacy Season 2, okay, well, I understand that maybe that's a bit too close to the bone for some people, but maybe it's a form of escapism. Maybe you play Chronicles of Crime or, you know, Micro Muckle, like one of something that you can play
on something else for a while, and that is escapism, and that allows everybody to relax. I mean, there are so many different reasons why board games benefit us as a family. You know, one of the things as a parent that we're trying to do all the time is that and which is different actually from playing in any other context. It's the one thing that makes family gaming a little bit different. One of the things, but that parents are always trying to teach their children, whether they're teaching them formally, like some of them are now, you know, curriculum-based subjects, or whether they're teaching them how to be a better human being and how to operate in the world. And board games teach us all sorts of things. So we as parents are able to teach our children through board gaming in all sorts of ways. So we know that board games develop social skills. They give children an opportunity to practice how to take turns and learn patience and to work as part of a team. And you learn negotiation skills and compromise and communication and all of these sorts of, and how to operate within a rule set. And these things allow, these are transferable skills that we can take into other areas of our lives. They also teach learning skills, whether it's a game that's designed to be educational or not. They're going to teach us, they're going to help us with processing speed and cognitive ability and, verbal reasoning and logic. And so, there's all sorts of learning that we can do as a result as well. And I think also, one of the kind of buzzwords in education has been all about kind of resilience and grit. And it's really hard to teach those things. It's hard to teach, and it's been a kind of debate in the education world for a long time. How do you teach resilience? And really all you can do is put children into situations in which they fail. Yes. And we don't want to do that as teachers. We want them to succeed, but it's through failure that you learn that sort of resilience. And so board games are perfect because almost all the time you're failing.
If you're playing a 5-player competitive game, you've got 80% chance of failing.
Exactly. And it's such a low risk. It allows you to fail and to again and again and again. But to learn from your mistakes, and it's an environment that it doesn't matter that you fail in. So that you become more comfortable with failing the more you do it. So it's actually a really good skill for children to do as they're growing up, and it's a really good reason to play board games.
It strikes me that is arguably a shortcoming with campaign games or legacy games, where the stakes are higher. So therefore, a failure is a bigger deal because you're getting stickers on the board. Yes, you might get a small benefit, but you're going to be getting the world into a worse and worse situation.
Yeah.
And so that's why, we end up playing, Legacy Season 2. And, well, for Season 1, our average game time was about 2.5 hours, I would say. Right. So it's not the most complex game, Pandemic, but you want to make sure that when, failure means that you've got to permanently write it and you might end up tearing up an actual person, we're going to be discussing every single move for about 5 minutes, which in itself is quite a nice thing because then you're working together, you're learning to cooperate, and those are valuable skills in and of themselves.
But I think you're right, Bez. Children feel that failure a lot more keenly than some adults do, and it's harder to deal with. It's one of the reasons why parents don't persist with playing board games, because there are often messy explosions and table flipping and arguments and screaming at each other, because it's so hard to deal with that failure. And the only way you can get better at it is by failing more often. And so if you've got a game that really relies on, and particularly a game that you spent a lot of money on, like Pandemic Legacy, that you can only really play through once, you want that to go well as a parent. So you're not going to introduce something like that unless your children are, we play it, we've got Season 1, we need to finish it, we haven't finished it yet. But, my children have been playing board games since they were tiny, and they are, totally indoctrinated into the hobby, and they're used to failing, and it's fine, and it doesn't matter if we do. But it's not the right thing to start with for a family, even though it would be, the draw to do that would be, it'd be a good draw. You'd feel like that would be a good thing, sort of narrative unfolding. But children often can't deal with that. So you need to build up more slowly to to not having failure means so much, I guess.
I think you're right, and that's why starting off with something like Forbidden Island or something that's a bit shorter and quicker, and maybe it's also more of a playful theme, especially right now.
And you know, co-ops are really interesting because you think that, and I'm sure it very much depends on the family and the dynamics within the family. I know it does. Co-ops are sometimes brilliant for families because they're all working together, and it's not one person winning and another person losing. But also in some families, mine included, those cooperative games sometimes can cause more problems because each child wants to have their own agency and wants to make their own decisions, and they're less good at being team players than they are when they're slightly older. That, you know, they want to fail, but they want to make their own decisions, and they'd rather fail making their own decisions than have someone else tell them what they should be doing and be successful. And I think that's also a really good lesson for parents to learn when they're trying to teach games to their children, because a lot of, I mean, teach games to anyone, whether they're children or not. You know, it's human nature to rather want it to really want to rather fail on your own, making your own decisions. So I tend to try and get people not to teach strategy. You know, let your children find their own strategy, because they'll be so much more pleased when they've won using their own strategy, and it will mean so much more than if you're telling them what strategy they should adopt.
Yeah, honestly, that's kind of like a spoiler, and it's that personal sense of realization and discovery that you are taking away from them. But I think that but at the same time, you do want children to be able to, and newcomers to any game, to be able to compete with, you know, not to be trashed. So how do you approach that? Would you handicap yourself in some way if you were
well, I mean, I think it's very tempting to teach strategy because you feel that you want everybody to be, you know, to have the same sort of chance of winning. But I don't think it generally matters, actually, that, you know, if you frame the experience at the beginning by saying, look, you know, I'm either, you know, a lot older than you, or I have more experience playing this game than you, and it's likely that I'm going to win. But, you know, that's just, you know, but you're going to learn, and after we played a couple of times, then you'll win. You know, I hate the idea of letting children win. I think it's a really bad mistake to make. When they're learning a new game, I may
sure. In some senses, that is tantamount to lying.
Yeah.
But then when you've got something like Go or Pilos, where in Pilos it's like, okay, because I know this game better than you, I'm going to have 5 walls, whereas you have 8. And frankly, I've done that with Chris. You know, Chris is an adult, but it's just, you know, I said, okay, you know what, I'll take off 2 of my walls, just to make it slightly more fair, because I've played a lot of
experience, and and particularly with games like you know, perfect information games where, you know, you've got, you know, an 2-player abstracts, that might be appropriate. It's sometimes harder to do with other games, but I think that, you know, that generally that's fine when people are learning. But that I'm always working to quickly having people playing on a level playing field as far as possible. And as for families, I would be choosing games where it's possible to do that. So, you know, there are all sorts of stories about people learning chess from their grandfather and never beating them, and then one day they managed to beat them, and that's been a huge part of sort of growing up, and a lovely thing, and this memory, but you know, I would be choosing games, if you're introducing your family to new games, I'd be choosing games where your experience level isn't going to massively increase your chance of winning. So, you know, it's about light strategy, and you know, some different tactics that you could take, rather than, you know, these huge involved strategy games that you do need to handicap yourself with.
I mean, even with a small involved strategic game, I mean, for example, Go on a 9x9 board is a very simple game, at least to teach. It's fairly quick. You can play it in 25 minutes. And Go on a 7x7 board, you know, no one plays that, you know, seriously, but it's even simpler. But I could beat anyone who hasn't played it before. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Not because I'm not an amazing Go player, but I'm just better than someone who's not played it before.
Exactly.
And, you know,
but that's not a bad thing. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that, you know, part of learning and part of, you know, it's got to be a worthwhile activity to do. And what we want actually is for our children to get into it. And okay, you don't want to put your children off by, you know, just trashing them every single time necessarily. That's why you're going to play a range of different games. But that competition and that wanting to compete on a level playing field from the child's point of view is really exciting, because they might see that as a challenge to, okay, well, I'm going to learn how to beat you. And then when they've won, they will know that they have won properly. And that's so valuable. You know, I just think that, you know, another benefit of playing with your children is that they can see you play, and they can see you, what you're like when you are, you know, playing, as opposed to what you're like when you're telling them what to do and driving them to school.
Yeah, seeing your parents as seeing people in different roles and being like, yeah, well, sometimes they do have to tell me what to do. Sometimes we do need to make sure that the kitchen's clean or whatever, and people are putting their own plates away. You know, at a certain point, it's like, okay, I've trained you to put things into the sink. Now you're old enough. Now you need to put the sink dishes and start, you know, clearing them up yourself from the sink to the next step. And
exactly. And those, you know, a lot of what we do as parents is functional and transactional. And if we only do functional and transactional things, then our children will only see us as in that role. And actually, to develop and strengthen those relationships, we need to get them to see us as, you know, as different parts of our personality. So playing with them, and as they get older, you know, I'm not talking about necessarily, you know, the kind of play that you do when they're really little, but playing with them, playing board games is a way for them to see you in a different light, and it's really nice. And to be level, you know, to be equal. You're all equal. You start equally, even if you end up doing better than they do. You start on a level playing field. There's no status on the table at the beginning of the game. And that's really liberating for children. It's really exciting to try and beat your parents.
I think that there's so much to ponder here. I think that we could easily chat for many more hours to come. And I'm sorry that we didn't get to talk about the coasters and crackers. Just
I'll hold them up for you. These are the games on coasters. There are 6 at the moment. There's a set of 6, and you can get them in a little set. They're great for traveling. Each one is a game. They're reusable. So the game's on one side, the rules are on the other. Some of them need a pen and paper, some of them don't. And they come, you can get them in a little travel pack, and it's perfect for camping. It's perfect for going on an airplane if you're going on an airplane. You know, it doesn't take up much space, and there's 6 full games. And the cracker, oh, there's the YouTube channel. The cracker, whoops, just dropped, oh God. Oh, sorry. It's all right. I managed to disconnect myself.
We've got another picture of the things, and yep, let's show the cracker.
The cracker is going on Kickstarter in September, 1st of September. There are 6 games in the cracker. They're designed to be very light family games, but introduce ideas from hobby board games. So if you are the kind of person that loves board games but can't get their family to play, you know, whether you're an adult going back to your parents, then you might want to try this. It's totally reusable, eco-friendly, and plastic-free.
Wow, nice.
Thanks.
And we've got lots of excitement for the coasters and in the thing. So
yeah, pubs and holiday homes is what's happening. So quite a lot of board game cafes have bought them. So you might start seeing them in different board game cafes around the country, and holiday apartments are interested. So yeah, there's all sorts going on.
If you have any very quick questions, I've been putting that banner up like the whole show, rotating through them, so no one's asked any questions. I'm assuming that everyone's just happy to listen to us blether. But if you want to check out Ellie, the links are on the bottom now. So there you go, the darkimp.com, where you can check out everything that Ellie has done, and that's the main hub. Yes, if you want to give us a quick 10-second explanation, there's the Facebook.
Yeah, so I've got a Facebook page, and everything that's happening goes on there. I've got a blog on my website that gets updated 3 times a week. I've got a YouTube channel that has 3 different things that come out every week. I do so some how to play videos, some time-lapse videos, and then a sort of me to camera video each week talking about something. So at the moment I'm talking about some of the coaster games and why they're good for teachers to use in schools. And yeah, I'm on Twitter. I'm on Twitter far too much. I'm on everything really. I don't really do Instagram very much. I am on Instagram, but I haven't really got a handle on that yet. So yeah, there's quite a lot going on Twitter.
And that is the one. And Will Cook says that you were just on such a lovely roll that he didn't want to interrupt you.
I know. When I get started, it's hard to.
No,
break.
It was brilliant. It was genuinely lovely hearing, and yeah, I think that there is more to uncover. So, and we've had Alan Outson, who's got their own family and is living in, I believe, knocks over a glass, living in a family of a similar size, I believe. And so, yeah, to finish up, let me once again remind everyone to thank you, everyone who's been commenting. Please do follow, especially if you're on Twitch, because on the Twitch I have, I think, still 47, and if I just get those 3 more followers, basically I was really amazed. Yesterday morning I had 42 followers, and then I just kind of put thing up, and so many people. I'm almost tempted to just, I don't know, make a fake account and then just follow myself.
Or because then it's not real. You'll get them. It'll happen. It'll happen.
Someone please follow me. And it's like so close. But yeah, that is that. So whoops.
Alan's got 3, yeah. I thought I was gonna say that, but
oh, do you know each other?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, from things with you.
And what are things we're looking forward to? What are daily hopes and ambitions? My thing that I'm looking forward to today, I guess this is a really vague thing. Okay, this is a really small thing, but I do go out literally just for at least 5 minutes, just to make sure that it's not very much, just to make sure I at least get out the house. And I play my little bits of Ingress. And yesterday it was walking in the drizzle, which was nice for kind of 5 to 7 minutes. Sometimes I walk for, maybe 10 minutes, but I always just, unless I've kind of planned a longer run, sometimes I do that. But right now it's just getting out for 5 minutes. That's a little thing that I'm looking forward to. Oh, I'm actually having Chris and McCall over today. That'll be really nice. Hopefully we'll be able to play a game together. And that is a thing I'm very much looking forward to. And my daily hope ambition is to just be productive in some manner. I've not worked out exactly what. And hopefully we can have a good meal together in some way. How about you?
Well, I'm looking forward to my youngest son getting out of bed, because he's finished term now, so he's on his summer holidays. And whenever he gets up in the morning, he comes and finds me and gives me a hug, even though he's 13, and I like that. And it's nice. And so I just sort of find myself clock watching and thinking, oh, when is he going to get up? I want him to come and see me. And And my daily hope or ambition, well, I'm getting ready for this Kickstarter for the Cracker. So today I need to plan out what is going to happen in the video. So I'm not quite sure what it's going to look like yet or how it's going to work. So I hope by the end of today I've got a plan for how that will look.
Fingers crossed. I mean, there's a lot of useful resources out there, and we've got Will Cook, who's going for ice cream in the rain to celebrate doing so well in their German citizenship exam. So, brilliant. Yeah, well done. I mean, missing only one question sounds very impressive. I don't know how many questions they were, but I'm assuming there was more than one.
That many if it only took 4 minutes.
Well, are you allowed to say how many questions there were? I'm just imagining Will Cook being like really quick.
Yeah.
33 questions. Yeah. That's quite a few. I mean, they're just a smart person. Well done.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Oliver's looking forward to Quacks of Quedlinburg with their wife and daughter.
Great game.
Odin's looking forward to coaching someone for the board game workshop contest. Also, the Dice and Ink is going to be on sale. I believe is it the 14th, and I've got it up myself. I'm doing the UK stuff. It's up on Amazon, and up on my own website. And so if people want to pre-order it in the UK, go for me. If you want to pre-order it in USA or some other country, speak to Odin about that.
I want to, so put me down, please.
Cool. It's a pre-order link on my website if you want it sent to you, or yeah, you probably don't want to wait until lockdown finishes. That's going to be like the end of the year or something when I will realistically see you. I mean, it's the way things are. Looking forward to continuing Twilight's Imperium 4 with, there's Calvin and Dee, who I know, and Mark and Dean, who I don't, and hopefully crush them.
Very good.
Yeah. Oh, I might have made a small mistake. Apparently it's the 15th.
Okay.
Oof. I might, yeah, if I might have said that I would send it out on the 13th, so if you pre-ordered it, so I'll change the dates. I think there's not that many people who've pre-ordered it so far, so I need to change that. Also, I need to change the US shipping because I'm not undercharging now. Royal Mail have done everything. That's his. Did you hear about this doubling of prices?
Well, I got caught out because I had an order from the US this week, and Paul took it to the post office and said it was twice what you said it was going to be.
Yep.
Yeah. So now my website's changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, again, thank you everyone for watching. If you want to tune in tomorrow, then you will see me talking with Eric Slauson, who's getting up ridiculously early because they live in the US, and we're chatting about their method of game design. They've made an amazing game that I've played called Monstrosity. Going to be talking about making lighter party games in the evening. We're going to be playing games, which is going to be, I believe, How Much Money and Freemail. Friday, talking to Able Table about conventions and accessibility. Saturday, this is, sorry to say this, Ali, I mean, not that you're not exciting and lovely, but I get to speak to you all the time. But Itzen is the person that I'm most excited to talk to. They are the people who made Tokyo Highway and Tribe.
Brilliant.
And yeah, I'm talking to the translator, Nozomi, there's their name. That's the person I'm talking to.
Very cool. Oh, we love Tokyo Highway. And Moonbase is good as well.
I don't think I've played Moonbase.
Yeah.
Have you played the Circle in the Sun, the one with the Stonehenge one? I played that at a convention, but I was like, yeah, I don't know if I want to back the Kickstarter. But basically, you're swinging this whole ball through Stonehenge, and you're trying to make a path for the ball to swing on a pendulum.
Okay. No, I haven't played it. Sounds good.
But yeah, had a lot of fun with Tribe, and their games have just done so well, and so many things around the world to talk to them about. If you want to follow me, stuffwithbears.com, twitter.com/stuffwithbears, instagram.com/stuffwithbears, twitch.tv/stuffwithbears, facebook.com/thingsbybears, that might change, stuffbybears@gmail.com. And do you have any closing words for everyone, Ellie?
Just if you've got any members of your family that don't want to game, find a way to get them into it. If you want some tips, get in touch and I'll let you know what I do.
And Ellie has kindly provided their email, which is at the end of that bit.
Yep, Ellie@thedarkimp.com.
And yeah, we've got love for It's In. And thank you to Oliver for watching, and thank you for the compliments. Yes, it's have a great day yourself. Thank you. Thank you, Alan. Thank for joining along as always. Thank you, David, for popping in. Thank you, yeah, Richard Simpson. It's lovely to see you all, and the only thing left to do is to say bye, 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 bye. This is the goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. But now it's time to go. Bye, 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 bye. This is a goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.